close-up of a phone screen with a text. Don't call. Don't come over. We're done. Imagine your mom sends you this text. We're done. No explanation. No goodbye. Just a cold, final cut from the family you've bled for. That's what happened to Amelia. Her family turned their backs on her, thinking she'd crumble. But she didn't. She built a $20 million empire and made them choke on their words. Stick around. This revenge story will leave you speechless. If you've ever been betrayed by the people you trusted most, this story's gonna hit hard. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and get ready for a roller coaster of family drama, betrayal, and the sweetest justice you've ever heard. Let's dive in. Amelia Carter grew up in a cramped, weathered house in Dayton, Ohio, where love was scarce and expectations were heavy. Her mom, Linda, was a single parent, a nurse who came home from 12-hour shifts with tired eyes and a sharper tongue. Her younger brother, Caleb, was the family's golden ticket. Charismatic, athletic, and always skating by on charm. Amelia? She was the quiet one, the dreamer, hunched over her sketchbook, designing rooms that felt like escapes from her reality. At 15, Amelia showed Linda a drawing of a sunlit bedroom, her hands trembling with hope. Mom, what do you think? I want to be an interior designer. Linda barely glanced up from her coffee. That's cute, Amelia, but it's not practical. Focus on something real. Amelia's heart sank, but she forced a smile. I could make it real. Mom. Caleb's got a track meet tomorrow, Linda said, her voice brightening. He's gonna be a star. Help him practice, okay? Amelia's fingers tightened around her pencil, the wood creaking. Why don't you see me? She thought, but she nodded, swallowing the sting. By 27, Amelia had fought tooth and nail to make her dream real. She'd worked nights at a greasy diner, saving every tip to pay for design courses at a community college. She landed a job at a small Dayton firm, where her bold, soulful designs, think cozy lofts with exposed brick and skylights, won clients' hearts. At 29, she took a leap and started A. Carter Designs, her own business. She poured everything into it. Late nights sketching until her wrists ached, cold calling clients and scraping by on instant noodles. Her family, though, they didn't care. Linda's calls were always about Caleb, his failed jobs, his car troubles, his big plans that never materialized. Amelia, desperate to feel needed, became their safety net. She paid Caleb's phone bills, covered Linda's late rent, even bought groceries when their fridge was empty. You're doing okay, right, Amelia? Linda would say, her voice flat over the phone. You can handle it. Amelia's chest would tighten, her fingers gripping her phone. I'm barely keeping my business afloat. She'd think, but she'd wire the money anyway. She wanted to be the good daughter, the good sister. She wanted them to love her. The first crack came in October 2022 at a family dinner. Amelia had just landed her biggest client yet, a couple, renovating a historic estate for $75,000. She drove to Linda's house, her heart pounding with excitement, ready to share her win. The table was set with mismatched plates, the air thick with the smell of roasted chicken. Caleb was slouched in his chair, scrolling on his phone. Guys, I've got news, Amelia said, her voice bright, setting down a homemade apple tart. I landed a huge project. It's not now, Amelia, Linda interrupted, slicing chicken with quick, sharp cuts. Caleb's got a job interview next week. We're focusing on him. Amelia's smile faltered, her hands clenching under the table. It's kind of a big deal. Mom, it's a $75,000 contract. Caleb snorted, not looking up. 75 grand? What, you're decorating some rich guy's basement? Don't get cocky, sis. Her face burned, the room feeling smaller. It's an estate, Caleb. I'm lead designer. Linda sighed, exasperated. Amelia, stop. Caleb's got enough on his plate. You're doing fine. Don't make this about you. Amelia's fork trembled in her hand, the metal cold against her skin. I just thought you'd be proud, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Proud? Caleb laughed, leaning back. Come on, you're playing with paint swatches. I'm out here trying to build a real career. The words hit like a slap. Amelia stared at her plate, her throat tight, the chicken tasting like ash. They think I'm nothing. She barely spoke for the rest of the meal, the weight of their dismissal crushing her. The next morning, her phone buzzed. A text from Linda. Don't call. Don't come over. We're done. Amelia's breath caught, her hands shaking as she stared at the screen. The words blurred through tears. Done? Her mind spiraled, replaying every moment, every sacrifice. She called Linda straight to voicemail. Texted Caleb, "What's going on?" "Please." Silence. For weeks, she was a ghost, pacing her tiny apartment, her sketches untouched, her heart pounding with confusion and pain. Then, a friend from high school, Sarah, called with the truth. Caleb had been spinning lies, telling Linda that Amelia was flaunting her success and acting superior. Worse, he'd claimed her business was a scam, that she was in debt and refusing to help the family. Linda, stressed and always quick to believe Caleb, bought it hook, line, and sinker. That text was her way of protecting the family from Amelia's supposed betrayal. Amelia's blood ran hot. Her sacrifices, $10,000 in loans to them, countless late-night calls listening to their problems, meant nothing. She sank to her knees, her sketches scattered around her, her nails digging into her palms. "They threw me away like trash." Her voice, barely a whisper, broke the silence. "I'm done begging for their love." That was the turning point. Amelia stopped chasing their approval. She threw herself into A. Carter Designs with a fire she didn't know she had. She took out a $50,000 loan, hired a branding expert, and pitched to high-end clients across Ohio. Her designs, modern, heartfelt, transformative, went viral. Blogs called her Dayton's Design Prodigy. Her Instagram hit 100,000 followers. By late 2023, she was booking contracts worth $200,000, but Amelia wasn't just building a business, she was building a plan. She started digging into Caleb's lies. A friend at a bank tipped her off. Caleb had racked up $30,000 in debt on Linda's credit cards, claiming it was for a tech startup that didn't exist. He'd even forged Linda's signature on a loan. Amelia's jaw clenched as she read the evidence, her pulse pounding. He's not just a liar, he's a parasite. She could have sent the proof to Linda then, but she wanted more. She wanted them to feel their mistake. In mid-2024, a Cleveland real estate mogul hired Amelia to design the interiors for a $5 million luxury condo tower. The project was a career-defining opportunity, and the launch party would be a red carpet affair in her hometown. Amelia saw her chance. She sent Linda and Caleb embossed invitations, knowing they'd show up for the free drinks and social clout. The night of the launch, Amelia stood in the condo showroom, her emerald green dress shimmering under the chandeliers. Her hair was swept into a sleek updo, her posture radiating power. The room buzzed with Cleveland's elite, developers, influencers, reporters. Linda and Caleb arrived, looking out of place in their cheap blazer and faded dress. Linda's eyes widened at the marble floors. Caleb's smirk faltered when he saw Amelia commanding the crowd. She stepped to the mic, her voice steady but electric. "Good evening, everyone. I'm Amelia Carter, the designer behind this tower. Every space here is a piece of my heart." The crowd erupted in applause, cameras flashing. Linda's hands fidgeted. Caleb's face turned red. Amelia's presentation was a masterclass. She walked the guests through her work, the hand-carved woodwork, the custom glass fixtures, the way each condo felt like a sanctuary. The audience hung on her every word. Then she paused, her gaze locking on Linda and Caleb. "This project taught me something," she said, her voice cutting through the room like a blade. "You don't need anyone's approval to rise. Not your family's, not your past's. I built this from the ground up, and no one can take that from me." The applause was deafening. Linda's eyes glistened with tears. Caleb's jaw tightened, his drink forgotten in his hand. After the presentation, Amelia pulled them into a private room, her expression cold as steel. She handed Linda a thick folder. "Open it," she said, her voice low and dangerous. Linda's hands shook as she flipped through bank statements, forged loan documents, and Caleb's incriminating texts. Her voice cracked. "Caleb, you did this. You stole from me?" Caleb's eyes darted, his voice rising in panic. "Mom, it's not what you think. I was gonna pay it back, I swear. Amelia's blowing it out of proportion?" Amelia cut in, stepping closer, her eyes blazing. "You lied about me, Caleb. You told her I was a fraud, that my work was a joke. You drained her accounts to fund your lazy, pathetic schemes. And for what? So you could keep playing the victim?" Linda's tears spilled over, her voice a whisper. "Amelia, I didn't know. I thought you were pulling away from us." "Pulling away?" Amelia's voice broke, raw with years of pain. "I gave you everything, Mom. I paid your bills. I held you together. And you sent me a text like I was nothing. You chose him, Caleb sneered, desperate. You're just showing off, Amelia. You think you're better than us now, with your fancy condos and your little spotlight? Amelia laughed, sharp and bitter. Better than you? Caleb, I've been better than you my whole life. The difference is, now I know it. She turned to Linda, her voice steady. You made your choice. You both did. Don't come crawling back when you realize what you lost. She walked out, her heels clicking on the polished floor, leaving them in stunned silence. The fallout was brutal. Linda confronted Caleb that night, her voice shaking with rage. She kicked him out, leaving him to face his $30,000 debt alone. He moved into a rundown apartment, scrambling to dodge collectors. Linda tried calling Amelia, leaving tearful voicemails, but Amelia didn't answer. She was done. Carter Design skyrocketed. The condo project landed Amelia on national design shows, and by 2025, her company was valued at $20 million. She bought a penthouse overlooking Cleveland's skyline, a far cry from the house where she'd felt invisible. But the real victory? It wasn't the fame or the money. It was the moment she saw Linda and Caleb's faces. Shock, regret, and the crushing realization they'd bet against the wrong person. Amelia stood in her penthouse, staring at the city lights, her chest light for the first time in years. I'm enough, she thought. And she finally believed it. The launch party wasn't just a win. It was Amelia's declaration of independence. She'd turned her pain into power, her betrayal into a $20 million empire. Linda and Caleb's stunned faces were the final proof. They'd underestimated her, and it cost them everything. Amelia felt the weight of years lift off her shoulders. Her breath steady, her heart full. She wasn't just free, she was unstoppable. Amelia's story isn't just about revenge, it's about reclaiming your worth. When the people you love try to tear it down, sometimes the hardest fight is proving you're enough, even to yourself. Did Linda and Caleb get what they deserved? Drop your thoughts below. If this story gave you goosebumps, smash that like button and tell us in the comments. What's the most epic revenge you've ever witnessed or pulled off? Spill the tea. Subscribe and hit the bell for more stories that'll keep you hooked. See you next time.